Well, with me now is a theologian and religious commentator, Vicky Beeching. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
You too.
Do you foresee an exodus from the church because of the ruling today?
I don't, and I think that really is the good point about the last 18 months. They've seen a huge shift in atmosphere and culture within Synod. I mean, listening to the live stream of the debate today, I listened to it word for word today and in 2012, such a different atmosphere. Today it was reconciliation, it was unity, it was trust. In 2012 it felt like angst and lots of emotions running high. Today it just felt like a very different group of people. Even though they were the same people in the seats, they've come so far in terms of trusting one another. So those who disagree, I think, are in a very different place. They're able to say, we may not agree doctrinally with you about female bishops, but we're willing to go with that and trust that there will be provision.
But it does sound as if you've got a split church then. You've got one side sort of thinking, you know, this is a good idea. The other side willing to go their own way within the umbrella of the communion. It doesn't sound united. It doesn't sound as if it's the kind of basis upon which the church should be moving forward.
Well, it's interesting, and this is why both of the archbishops keep comparing the church to a family. They say that it's actually not about being cookie-cutter Christians. Actually, it's about having that diversity, but being able to manage it together. So Justin Welby talks a lot about having this kind of happy, kind of messy but united church that, you know, isn't all tied up. All the loose ends aren't tied up. We will disagree on many very important things, but the beauty of the Church of England is it's a broad church, and we can exist in that unity together despite our disagreements.
But it's going to have to be very broad, isn't it, when you think of assisted suicide, the debate on that, you know, whether there should be the ordination of people who are gay, and that kind of thing. I mean, there are still lots of issues upon which the church is fractured, and it just feels as if you've got an institution that is sort of, the cracks are being papered over, but the cracks are still there.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think actually what today shows is that there are cracks, but we're actually going to be able to handle those things together. So Archbishop Justin Welby has a Director of Reconciliation called David Porter, and he's done a lot of great work. He was involved in negotiations in Ireland, and he's been behind the scenes, largely responsible, I think, for helping people reach a unanimous decision today. That's, well, largely unanimous, you know, that we can actually all bear with this together. And I think the things we've seen pave the way for today's vote will also come into play when we talk about human sexuality or assisted dying. And I think Synod has shown today that we can discuss things, we can put ourselves in other people's shoes. So it's not just going to be the women bishops' issue. I think we'll see that play out as we begin to tackle these other really, really difficult topics.
But mightn't it have just been easier to say, look, those who disagree with this, it's probably better if you do, I don't know, go to the Catholic Church or whatever. I mean, wouldn't that be simpler, more straightforward, and not potentially harbour resentments for the future?
But then we'd have so many different mini churches, wouldn't we? And the beauty of the church, like I said, is that it's broad, it is our national church, and we're in it together. We're never going to agree on all these things. And as you say, there's already some very contentious issues just on the horizon. So I think if at every one of those crossroads we divided, we'd just be in pieces, whereas Archbishop Welby's vision is very much that we're a family, we're united, and that we travel slowly so that we travel together. So for many people, today's vote seems a bit of an anticlimax, like, goodness, at last, you know, you've got female bishops. But for us, it's actually been a slow journey because we've come to it together as a whole without fragmenting.
Like all families, you argue within, but you try to stay together.
Exactly.
All right, okay. Vicky Beeching, the theologian. Many thanks, Vicky. Thank you.